Hey, Coach, how you guys? How's practice gone this week in preparation for this La Tech opponent?
It's been well. It's been really good. Our kids seem to be focused, and they understand the importance of the conference game and the next conference game, that is. And they understand that they've been told that this is the most important game of the season, and we expect to have our best performance. So all in all, health-wise, the way we've worked, the attention to detail has been very close to what we expect. Not quite there yet, but I felt good about the way we left the practice field for the most part.
What are some of the things this La Tech team does well? What do you guys have to key in on?
Well, it starts with their personnel. They have a couple of outstanding receivers that's probably averaging almost 20 yards a catch. And those guys can make plays at any time when they touch the football. So we need to be very aware of where they're located. And, just having the history of Coach Holtz and having a chance to go against him, I know he understands the importance of running the football. So he's going to have a well-balanced offense with a couple of multiple quarterbacks. One's maybe a little bit more accurate passer. The other one's a little bit more athletic with his feet. And I'm sure he'll have a nice game plan for us as well.
All right, Greg, go ahead.
Coach, how are your guys holding up to the grind of the season and just the physical toll that's been taken through the first 6 weeks? It's something Jeff's talked to us about a lot. What have you seen this week as you've gone through practice?
I've seen these guys, they've been resilient. They've been continue to work. We have certain periods on certain days that we really get after it, and our kids have really responded well. They've challenged each other to get better. One thing in our triangle of toughness is we're going to be a very, very physical defense that loves to play the game and play with passion. And one of the characteristic traits in the triangle for us offensively is run the football. And in order to do that, you have to have a physical football team. And we're continuing to do so. We're continuing to get after each other when those periods permits, and then other times we're being smart and taking care of them.
When you talk about taking care of them, I know last Thursday and this Thursday you guys took the pads off. Does that make a big impact? Does that help keep them fresh, or how does that change things?
Well, I think each time you take some pounding off of the kids, on Thursday, Wednesday, whenever it may be, I think it gives you a mental relief for one thing, and then it takes one more bump and bruise off, one more tackle, less tackle that they have to do until Saturday. So I think from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint, it helps our kids stay a little bit fresher come the ball game.
What did you see from Jalen Haynes last week, coming back from injury, getting back in the mix against Army?
Well, he wears the number 1, and that 0, 1, 2, or 2, 1, 0. Those guys are kind of the heartbeat of our team, and Jalen and Rashad Wisdom carry those numbers with a lot of pride. Jalen's a guy that's very unselfish, and he had an opportunity to sit out. And you're talking about a young man who has a knee injury, and with that type of offense, it's not friendly to a defensive lineman. But it just shows his love for his team, his teammates, and his love for this school, that he wants to go lay it on the line every opportunity he gets. And no matter who the team is, if he can play, he's going to be out there with his brothers.
Is he still working his way back to 100%, or how did you evaluate the kind of form he was in the game?
I didn't think he was at his very best, and I still don't think he's 100%, but he's better than what he was. And 80% Jalen Haynes is better than some guys 100%. So, counting down to Saturday, we hope he gets a little bit more healthy, and it's going to be a process. And the one of the greatest assets you can have as an athlete is having the ability to not only play injured or hurt, but the ability to play well. And that's something that he understands and he's doing. So it's hard to second guess or, put his level of performance at a non-subpar effort or grade because of the character that he has to even be out there.
JJ?
Ty, we saw Kalechi have a big game for you guys at safety. How would you rate his performance this past week?
That's the best I've seen him play. I actually seen him cut it loose and show glimpses of what we think he can be. Kalechi's had a very important role for us defensively. He's filled in when Rashad's been suspended, but the blessing that Kalechi has, he's smart enough and athletic enough that he can play both safety positions. So at times we've had him and Rashad on the field together. And Kalechi's just scratching the surface of his potential. Our safeties coach, Jess Lepp, does a great job of teaching fundamentals and motivating young men. And Kalechi is just another one of his products that he's continued to develop.
Greg, go ahead.
You also had Ken Robinson come in and make a big impact this week. What did you see from him? How do you evaluate what he brought to the table?
Ken's a kid that we really expected a lot of before the season started. He had an outstanding camp, and unfortunate for him, he suffered an injury the first week of the season, and that was a major setback for him. But the things that Coach Graham has always bragged about Ken is he's very knowledgeable, he's very courageous. He understands the strengths and weaknesses of each coverage, and he's not afraid to mix it up. Coach Traylor challenged the defense, challenged the group to get the ball back. We had one more chance after burning our timeouts, and little bit Ken Robinson puts his head on the ball, and Charles Wiley goes in that pile and comes out with it. So, Ken's a guy that we expect to see more and more playing time throughout the season, and expect to see more and more big plays out of.
And you've had another young guy make an early impact this season with Xavier Spencer. What do you jump out about his play overall, or how can you evaluate what he's done for you guys to this point?
Xavier's been more of a teams guy. He has a very important role for us. Early on, he was our third corner and helped provide depth there. He's played sporadically on defense, but he's been more of an impact on our special teams. You're talking about young guys. Coach Traylor did a great job of recruiting some young guys in here in a short period of time. We're talking about Jamal Leggett being a true freshman and having an impact as well. And another kid is Cyrus. He played outside backer for us a week ago, but he's going to move back to defensive line. And he's another true freshman on top of Danye Taylor. So we feel like it's a lot of good freshmen in this class, and we just got to continue to build upon it with more and more good recruiting classes. And we feel like we can have the caliber team that compete for a conference championship.
We saw that Tariq didn't play against Army. Jeff was telling us that just because of the matchup and because Tariq's playing with the cast on his hand, that it sort of made sense. But did you think Tariq benefited from the week off? Could you really use that time to continue his recovery, or where does he stand at the moment for you guys?
The week off, he practiced every day just like he was playing the game. So I guess when we say the week off, probably more the game in itself. I think it might have helped him from a mental standpoint because he wasn't out there trying to defend himself with one arm. That offense requires both hands to play cut blocks and to be able to stay on your feet. And we didn't feel like that was safe and, in the best interest of him and our team to give us the best chance of winning. So mentally, he's been great. Kind of surprising how good he took it last week. So, he's jumping at the bits to get back on the field.
You mentioned those cut blocks and the things that you face against Army that are different from a lot of other teams. Is it a challenge for the guys to go from that back to sort of a more typical kind of spread offense in Louisiana Tech?
No, it's a breath of fresh air. I know it is for me, and just preparing and getting back to the traditional offenses now, the spread attacks. It was fun to go back and game plan and transition back to the type of things that we're used to seeing on a daily basis, and our kids should play faster and understand and, you know, be more familiar. So maybe we'll have a better defensive performance than we did a week ago.
When you look at the defense overall this season, do you feel like you guys have an issue with penalties, or is it just kind of isolated cases week to week that seem to pop up?
I think we have you said an issue?
Yeah, I don't know, whatever word you would want to use. You know, sometimes teams claim that they have a discipline problem or whatever it may be, and we've seen high penalty totals. But I don't know if you evaluate it as a bigger picture concern or if it's just something that week to week there's one or two plays here or there.
Well, I don't really pay a lot of attention to the things that are out of my control. And sometimes penalties, whether it's pass interferences or things like that, those are judgmental calls. We just try to be in the right position and teach our guys the proper technique and, you know, go for the ball. Occasionally, if you're playing defense, you're going to get a face mask or two. The thing that we really hype and critique our kids on is being disciplined on pre-snap penalties. I don't think we've had but maybe one the entire season. So, you know, when you're playing the game, things are going to take place, and that's a part of it. But penalties before the snap or a major no-no, and I don't think we've had but maybe one or two at the most the entire season.